This is Mike and C, and this is another episode of You Can't Handle the Truth. So thank you for entertaining us by being on here. Like our page, like our videos, comment, follow, subscribe, do everything. You've had some chance, at least a little bit, to get acquainted with us, and I wanted to share some stories because everybody's like, well, why would, there's so many lawyers out there, and a lot of them do what we do, personal injury. And so I had a client recently who called me about something that, was a construction issue. And he said, everybody, because I told him, I said, my primary area of practice is personal injury because it is. And he said, everybody does personal injury. I said, you know what, you're right. And I gave him a consult. We worked out his issue, and we're actually still working on finishing it up. It wasn't a personal injury case, but I wanted to get into why we do it. I can't answer for the whole world as to why we do it, but when I started out, I was like a pre-med student. I had majored in chemistry, and I was probably the only kid in my class that was a chemistry major. I was also a psychology major, but I was a chemistry major too. I had a double major. When I started working in a hospital, and it was like 2 days, I did an internship, and I'm going somewhere with this. I basically just said, this is not for me. And my grades were okay. I probably would have gotten in somewhere, but I liked the healing aspect of medicine on some level, but I didn't want to do it. And so I always wanted to be a lawyer. I passed, the bar, had a great education at Florida State University, College of Law. And then after that, I get into this job, okay, because I need money, all right? So I start out, and they want to pay me like $20,000 to go travel to Clearwater to work for the public defender's office. I wanted to do criminal law. I can't afford to work for $20,000. And this is way back in the Stone Ages, right? This is like 2001. It's right after 9/11.
I think they only pay him like
right. So yeah, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't afford it. I just bought a townhouse in Tampa. So I started working for this guy that did personal injury, and what a nightmare. I learned a lot from him and his staff, but I was there for 8 months because the experience was so bad. And I'm not going to get dramatic, but it was ridiculous. The way that the staff was treated was the big thing to me, and I think I've taken that home, and that's why I don't mistreat my staff. I don't know why anybody would mistreat their staff since they're doing work for you, but that it was just so horrific. And his filing system was a peck and chuck. You kind of pull out a file. Oh, let me look on this file. He'd yell at his clients. He'd insult them. This is why people don't like lawyers, because somebody probably had that guy represent him, and they told their mom and their dad, and they told all their family about this guy, and that's one of the reasons why. So I got the hell out of Dodge and ended up working in a great place, great firm in South Tampa. And I worked under the tutelage of a fantastic former judge who I love this man to death. He doesn't know how much I love him. And I learned how to practice the right way. But I took what I learned from that personal injury stuff from this guy, this maniac, who wasn't a bad lawyer. He was just a bad guy. And I always tell my friends about this 8 months. I remember the first 8 months of my career more than I do what happened last week. But I wanted to stick with it because I saw that there was a value in representing these people. And I did some defense work shortly after that. And I would get these trial verdicts for $0. Me and my old partner would win these trials, and it was like, move on to the next case. That was how the insurance company handled it, because it was a system. And I'm not bashing that. I mean, for some people, that's what they want. They want to go work somewhere, get a little, nice salary, and get your benefits paid. But it wasn't for me. I need the pat on the back. I played sports, and I need that pat on the back. I need to know that something is gratifying. So here you give people checks, and you are also able to filter out what cases you get. You don't have to take in a case where someone is not really injured. And so I can look myself in the mirror and say that I'm so glad that I went through that bad time. Even though it was miserable, I was miserable going home every day, but I learned a lot. And so I think that's why I decided to keep doing the personal injury, if that makes any sense. It stuck with me. Yeah. I really wanted to do criminal law, but that's what I did. So anyway.
Speaking of jerks at work. Oh, just
kidding. Yeah, not me.
No, but I was going to say, we need some more stories about that. So we'll have to get it.
The public need more stories.
They do. They need to know, because it's funny. My husband actually has a similar story to that. He went and worked for this crazy lady in Miami for 2 months, and she was crazy. And he has so many good stories from that, and more more stories in that 2 months than in the last 7 years of his practice.
Yep. Again.
And so I don't have any crazy stories. I do have a funny story about how I was hired, though.
Let's get funny.
We can get into that at some other time, but I want to talk more about why I do what I do. So I started out working for a large personal injury advertising firm in law school, and I did mostly work comp and Social Security disability. And if you know anything about work comp and Social Security disability in the state of Florida, it's sad. I call it sad law.
The practice is sad, or the what you're doing?
What people have to be subjected to is sad, right? Because it takes 4 years to get disability, basically. If you're applying for Social Security disability on average in the state of Florida, 4 years where you're not working, I don't know how people live. I mean, it's sad. And then work comp, the laws are just so skewed and terrible that, you're basically telling people there's no pain and suffering in the settlements either. So you're just just settling off, potential future med at the work comp, at a work comp fee schedule, which is nothing because they don't pay their doctors anything either. So that's a whole nother tangent. But the reason I got into personal injury was because of the fact that, yes, we can make good money to do it, but you're also really helping people. You're helping people through one of the possibly worst times in their life. You're connected through it. That way you're connected with your clients. You're actually tangibly helping people every single day. You're informing them. You're making sure they get the treatment that they need, making sure you're kind of advising them through the process, giving them options and things that they wouldn't normally think about, because we do. I mean, we know this. This is what we know. This is what we do. And so, another huge aspect in some of the, throughout my 7 years of now practicing, I've been doing it for 9, but actually past the bar and practicing for 7, and it's all personal injury, is I've seen so many people not be able to be compensated because of the fact that Florida is not a mandatory bodily injury state. Therefore, people don't carry that coverage, and they don't carry uninsured motorist coverage. So you've got every single person. I mean, because it's important. Every single person involved in this incident, there's no insurance. Sometimes I've had cases where there's 4 vehicles involved and none of them had insurance. And it's sad because then these people aren't compensated. I have death case, people die, lose their life.
Explain the gravity of the case. These are not just your garden variety,
right.
My
back and my neck hurt. I need 6 months of therapy. You have people who literally lose their life. Their families come to you looking for help, looking for guidance, looking for some type of, apology in the form of compensation, essentially. And there's nothing there. And that's what you have to tell people. I mean, it's the worst message. And so,
I don't believe it either.
So one of my huge, now at this point, because of this, I'm passionate about making sure that mandatory bodily injury coverage gets on a bill, gets passed, and there are no quid pro quos about it. We don't have to remove this to have that. We don't have to do this to have that. No, give us mandatory BI so that if you kill somebody, they can at least be compensated.
You heard it here first, or you heard it here maybe the 17th time. I don't know. This is the first time we've said it, but I'm sure it's been said somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to beat this topic down like a dead dog, because.
Fantastic. That's a way to bring in more viewers, right? More people are going to see that. They're just going to keep.
Beat us up now from me. I'll never beat down a dead dog.
Maybe you can handle the truth, right? Is that what it is?
Right.
So anyway, no, but it's a good point. All jokes aside, right?
Yeah. People aren't frustrated about it enough because, again, don't need a personal injury attorney until you're involved in an accident. You don't know these things until it's too late and you don't have the coverage. So a lot of people are learning this retroactively. My huge, what I've taken as a call to action for myself and bring awareness. I want to try and bring awareness to it beforehand.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I'm going to talk probably every single episode. There's going to be something about this topic because it's important and people need to know how.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing. This is informational. I mean, whether you like it, you don't like it. I mean, it's just something that we're telling you to our experience. We're giving the benefit of our experience in these videos, and it is what it is. Everybody's going to have different opinions on things, but the bottom line is for our profession, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, is just people don't need lawyers until they need them. The same thing with criminal law and other aspects of the law, right?
Right.
So,
but yeah, I think the reason why we do what we do is because not only we get to help people, and
absolutely,
we get to help people through one of the hardest times they may be experiencing in their life. And for us, that feels good.
It's good to feel good about what you do, especially in these trying times that we live in, where we're always at the office now.
Exactly. So if you liked what you see, if you want to hear about more, please leave it in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time.